Here's the Christ speaking to the Pharisees again. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. Wow. So the Pharisees, their father is the devil. And this guy is sitting there and saying, I'm a Pharisee. Now here it starts to get interesting. Salute Rufus, chosen in the Lord, and his mother and mine. Wow. Did we have something in John when I first started talking about, let's see, a father-in-law and a son-in-law, and I mentioned to you there's a mommy in here. Got to figure out who that mommy is. Keep thinking about that. Going to get to that. And now here's one that's really interesting from Matthew chapter 23, verse 13. And I'm going to read part of it right now. And Pharisees, for ye neither go in. Now what was the rest of that verse? Wouldn't that be interesting? Neither go in. So let's see if I can read it. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For ye neither go in yourselves. Wow. The Pharisees never go into the kingdom of heaven. Now that's the Christ word. Now, did he make a mistake? Because guess what? There's no evidence anywhere, anytime, that he has ever made a mistake. He always does the Father's will. And yet there's another guy that's sitting there telling you that he's a Pharisee. And people are listening to a Pharisee. Want to know how the government got real strong? Because you got controlled by something called religion. And who was the guy that's been doing this religion stuff? Well, that's who we're going to try and find out tonight. We're approaching the bottom of the half hour, and I hope you'll listen to this. I hope this will cause you to think and say to yourself, have you been misled? Because guess what? Almost everybody was. The question is, can you humble yourself? Can you drop your hubris and say, I made a mistake because I was deceived. But I want to get the truth. The truth will set you free, but it never says that the truth is easy to swallow. You got to keep thinking about that. Got to work hard. So we're going to keep continuing on this after we come back from this break. And I'm having a little bit of trouble tonight hearing the music, so I don't know if it started. I don't know if I've interrupted it. But anyway, well, I've got a little bit of a break here, or I think I've got a break here. I would like to remind everybody that the archives at Republic Broadcasting Network are $1.33 a month. You ought to get in on that deal. All right, here's the music, and come on back after this break. Thank you. Thank you for returning to the Gathering Offering, ladies and gentlemen. And please don't think that I'm just going to read stuff to y'all tonight and then not give you a chance to be able to read it yourself. Before the Gathering Offering is over tonight, I will tell you how to go get black and white copy of much higher intensity than what I am just reading. And you will be able to read this. You will be able to see the book, the chapter, and the verses of all this. But right now I'm asking you, please just listen. Do you see something positive and then something that is negative, or that's the opposite of what's being said? So I'm going to continue. This is the Christ speaking. Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. I am the door. By me, if any man entereth in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out, and find pasture. Sounds pretty good to me. So hear this other verse. Wherefore Therefore, I beseech you, be followers of me. Now, this other guy's telling me to follow him. I'm very, very sure I'm supposed to be following the Christ. Are you sure you should follow the Christ, or do you want to follow somebody else? I certainly don't want you following me, unless we're all in the same line following the Christ. Let's try another one. Brethren, be followers together of me. That's that same other guy talking. Here's this other guy talking. In the day when God shall judge the secret of men by Jesus Christ according to my gospel. Now, how about that? I wasn't aware that men anywhere in the Word of God are supposed to have secrets. I know the Masonic Lodge and all that kind of stuff has secrets. They don't sound like such good guys. Church of the Rothschilds and Obama and those guys got secrets. I don't believe in secrets. What about you? Here's another verse from the Christ. I am the good shepherd and know my sheep, and have known of mine. Here's a verse from this other guy. According to the glorious gospel of the blessed God, which was committed to my trust. Whoops. The whole entire gospel was given to this other guy. Wow. I didn't know that. I wonder what Jeremiah thinks of that. What about Ezekiel thinks about that? Here's a verse from the Christ. Then said Messiah unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. Here's a verse from the other guy. Yea, so I have strived to preach the gospel, not where Christ was named. Now, I'm getting a little bit, is this confusing to you that somebody else wants to preach a gospel not where Christ was named? How about that? I thought the entire gospel was about Christ and the Father's law. Here's one. I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. Now that sounds good to me, what Christ said to me. I agree that sounds pretty good. So here's the other guy. All things are lawful to me, but all things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. All things are lawful to him, and then he repeats that all things are lawful to him, but all things edify not. Well, what in the world does that mean? Seems like it's getting a little confusing. Is this word art that lawyers use on you? So like a scribe and a Pharisee? Here's the Christ speaking. But he answers and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Here's another verse from somebody else. Of the stock of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, a Pharisee. Now, anybody want to go back and check where tribe of Benjamin interbred with the Jebusite Canaanites and was the first tribe divorced? And he's admitting he's of the tribe that was divorced because it bred with Canaanites. Anyway, here we go with the Christ. I know that ye are Abraham's seed. If you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham, yet you seek to kill me. Okay, so now the Christ is saying, he says that he's speaking to these Pharisees, they are of Abraham's seed, but they are not Abraham's children. Now, how could that be? Well, let's see. Abraham had Ishmael, and from the handmaid of his wife, Sarah. Well, that was the daughter of Pharaoh. And then later on in life, he took on another wife, and he had 5 or 6 more children. But yet he did have Isaac, didn't he? And so that's where the children come from. Isaac, Jacob, Israel. Okay. Here's a comment. Again, woe unto you Pharisees, for ye neither go in. Now, they're not going to heaven. Here's a verse from the Christ. For I say unto you, you shall not see me henceforth, till you say, blessed not going to see him anymore. Here's another verse from the Christ. But I said, I go into my Father, and ye see me no more. So the Christ said he's leaving, he's going to the Father, no one's going to see him. Here's a verse from somebody else. And suddenly there shined about him a light from heaven, and he fell to the earth, and he heard a voice saying unto him, wow. And this continues, and I fell into the ground and heard a voice saying to me, and he said unto me, I am Jesus of Nazareth. Now wait a minute. The Christ said he's leaving, they're not going to see him anymore, and, he sees a light, and he hears a voice, and yet Christ says he's not going to see us, that we're not going to see him anymore. How is this possible to have so many contradictory verses right there in the Bible? Did maybe somebody mess up? Like you and me? Did maybe somebody like Jeremiah tell us ahead of time? Many pastures have destroyed my vineyard. Jeremiah 12:10. Are the pastors out there talking about this from this bad guy? Well, let's continue. And this is from the Lamb of God in the book of Revelation. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. There's 12. And yet this other guy says, am I not an apostle? Now let's see. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I count. And then somebody else says they're an apostle. That comes to 13. How's that happen? Here's another verse from the Christ. And he called unto his disciples, and of them he chose 12, whom also he named apostles. Oh! Now, maybe what it is somebody has never defined an apostle for you. You see, an apostle actually came from this group of disciples. And then you remember where the Christ took them all individually, all 12 of them, and he taught them. See, to be an apostle, he actually had to be taught by the master. I cannot be an apostle because the Christ didn't sit down and teach me. And I don't think he sat down and taught either any of you. Now, we can be disciples, but we cannot be apostles. So here's another one of these guys, this other verse. Called to be an apostle of Jesus Christ through the will of God, and Sosthenes, our brother. There's another verse by this other guy. For in nothing am I behind the very chiefest apostle. So he's sitting there saying, there's 13 of them now. See, he's got the power, and he tells you he's an apostle. Well, here's a verse from the book of Revelation. And thou hast tried them which say they are apostles and are not, and hast found them liars. They're liars. Christ very clearly has told us he has 12 apostles. Anybody else that says that they're an apostle, they're either deceived very badly because they don't know the definition of an apostle, or they're a liar. They are the prince of liars.